When you're drowning, it's easy to panic and try to save yourself, desperately grasping for air and flailing your arms. But remember, don't try hard. Surrender and remember, you can float. You can float, 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 you can float. Just surrender and remember. Happy Friday. A big part of me wanted to say happy Top Tier Thursday. To all those who are here tuning in from my Instagram, I thank you wholeheartedly. I thank you. Top Tier Thursdays on IGTV has been a beautiful thing, and I've been wanting to bring that and Breeze Utopia and all these things to this platform for quite some time. It's something that I've thought about for quite some time, but it's also something that I've had a lot of fear around for quite some time, which is something we're going to get into today. Not for the reason, but like fear. But I was thinking, I want the lights to be this way, and I want the perfect intro video and the perfect song, and I want for the background, like all these things. And it's something because a lot of times people say, like, I'm hearing people say, you have to get rid of the ego, and the ego is holding you back, and your ego is your enemy and all that. And it's like, not exactly. It can be detrimental for sure, but when things are balanced, it's beneficial, it's helpful. And even fear, fear has served me in certain areas, and I'll get into some of those things later. But this season of my life, my spirit has just been calling me to choose what serves me best. And in this season of my life, love is what serves me best. Fear has served its purpose in different areas of my life. But now my spirit has just been like, no, it's time to love. And I've been building and growing and cultivating and leaning into this awareness, raising an awareness and paying attention to my choice. Last year, summer of 2020, I learned about Born Day fasting, and it really made me realize, like, when you're not satisfying a craving, a hunger, and whatever that is, it just does not have to be food. It can be a plethora of different things, but I don't want to go off on that tangent because I want to stay focused on what I'm saying. But it made me realize that love and joy and peace and all these things are abundantly available to us at all times. At all times. You literally choose what you want to experience. You literally choose. You have a lot more choice than you think you do. Even things were not perfect. Things are not perfect now. However, you have a choice. And so this episode, this video, whatever, is all about the choice of love or fear. And so, like I said, a few months ago, I just really started to pay attention, to gain this awareness, to build this awareness, brick by brick, moment by moment, choice by choice, about love and fear. And I'll talk about some beautiful things that have happened in my life since that in another video. However, like I said, I just started to pay attention. And it doesn't mean that every decision I've made has been aligned with love all the way. However, there were things that I'm like, why am I choosing fear? Why? Like, sometimes we try to rush things. We try to rush situations. We've built these expectations and envisioned, our lives in a certain situation or a relationship or whatever it is to go a certain way. And not saying you can't envision things, like, we're supposed to write the vision and make it plain, but sometimes we get so staunch and so dead set on what something should be because it may validate us externally. You know, it may validate the idea in our head that we have of what we should have or who we should be, or, you know, or what our experience should look like. And I just started to just ask myself why. The last time, I won't even say the last time, the first time I remember being in this space, in a space similar to this, like gaining awareness and realizing that I had choice and all that, was back in 2014. And that year is the year that I felt like I was reborn in a way. And I started journeying back to myself, and learning who Bria was in the most authentic sense, not who Bria was taught to be, not who Bria was expected to be, not who you know, I expected myself to be, but just being, just simply being. And I realized that I didn't love myself, and I won't say I completely didn't love myself, because some stuff I just wouldn't go for, but I really realized that I didn't love myself in the way that I envisioned. Like, when I thought about this greater than myself version of myself, if you follow what I'm saying, the space that I was in, I knew that the choices that I was making, like for instance, like overgiving, overcompensating, depleting myself, not having boundaries, and different things like that, those choices, those behaviors, those patterns, that mindset, those choices were not going to get me to that space. And I felt like I really wanted to experience that space, and I didn't know how long it was going to take. I didn't know the first step to take, but I just started to say, okay, I just started to take inventory and say, okay, well, that feels right, and I don't know about that. And the last time, like, I just started to pay attention and to ask questions. I think a lot of times, we're so conditioned to think one way. We think that sometimes life, like, I know I won't even say we, I'll just say for myself, life life looked very singular. It was like, okay, I appreciated the fact that other people had different ways of living and different ways of thinking and believing and all those things, but I also very much so thought that you should think this way. If you don't think this way, then you're wrong. You should live this way, and if you don't live this way, then you're wrong. That's how I thought. And even about myself, like, okay, if I'm not this, then I'm not good enough. If I don't do these things, if I don't think this way, if I'm not this version of myself, then I'm not good enough. And again, we treat other people, we deal with other people, we view other people. It's just an extension of how we feel about ourselves and how we look at ourselves. And I was very, very rigid and hard on myself. But anyway, I started to pay attention to my choices and start to just journey on this whole journey of love. And I know everybody talks about journeys now. I'm not trying to sound like deep like my journey, but I did. And so that was the beginning of it. And I'll talk about like some things I did, like starting a Selflove girls group and all those things in a school. I work at, you know, if you're new to me, I work in the school now. I work in an alternative girls school. I worked in high schools and for summer camps for kids that have quote unquote behavioral issues. And not saying that that's not a real thing, but anyway, I'm not gonna get into that right now because we'll go on a tangent that won't lead us in the direction that we're trying to go. Okay, but yeah, the last few months, I've been paying attention to the choices that I'm making and why I'm making those choices and what is at the root of those choices and those emotions and those thoughts and those patterns and beliefs and feelings and all those things. Like, why do I think I can't experience this or have this, or why am I not trusting myself enough to enjoy the spoils of my birthright? Like, I just really just started to pay attention. And it was because I'm still in the process, but it has been uncomfortable and unfamiliar and sobering and challenging and stretching and beautiful and eye-opening and meaningful and so many things all at once. And I'm so grateful, and I'm not done. But, you know, there's a scripture that says, God has not given us a spirit of fear, but of love, peace, and a strong mind. Love, peace, love, power, and a strong mind. Love, peace, and a sound mind. It's something in the realm of that. Okay, God ain't giving you fear. Um, but I was choosing a lot of fear. And I won't say that fear is completely wrong or bad or detrimental, because choosing fear has been beneficial for me in some areas and in some ways. But I also realized that, like all things, balance is necessary. Fear kept me from making some really terrible decisions. But it's also kept me from a lot of love and joy and peace within myself. And it's like, okay, what do you want? So I encourage you, as I encourage myself, just to pay attention, not even to force yourself to heal before the wound is even ready to heal. Because if you fall off your bike, and you get a cut, you get a bruise, you bust it down to the white meat, and it's not going to just heal automatically. You have to do things for healing to happen. But at first, you might go in the house, clean it up, put some peroxide on there, get some aloe vera or some Neosporin or something. If you're at home, you might let it breathe for a little bit. When you go out, you're going to put a Band-Aid over it and cover it up. But it doesn't just happen automatically. And so there's been times that I've tried to force myself to be a virgin, or force myself, like, okay, I have this awareness now. Every decision I do, every decision I make, everything I do, everything I say, everything I think needs to be in complete alignment with this and that. And it's like, that is unrealistic, and it's a job, and it is rigid, and it's just not beneficial. Because again, that's fear. Like, oh, I need to hurry up and be this version of myself to be worthy, or to accept myself, or for other people to accept me, or for these things to happen for me. I need to be this version. I need to do it. Like, relax. It's not realistic. There's been some things over the last few months that I wanted to confront, to deal with, to some things I wanted to address. But it's funny, like, I wanted to do it in my timing, and I wanted to do it in my emotion. Like, there was a lot of emotion that's like, no, I want to do this right now. I want to get this out of the way. And it's maybe been like, maybe about 3 times, 3 different, in about 3 instances, God allowed me time to just, like, to not do what I was wanting to do, what my emotions wanted me to do in the moment. But I was given the time to get perspective and to lean into wisdom and to do things differently, and not, again, be fearful. Like, no, we need to, this needs to be handled right now. And it's like, all things in divine timing. All things work together for your good. Sometimes we have to just pause for a second, take a moment, just breathe for a second. I was listening to something or somebody, and it said, breathe like a baby. I work at a school now, and some of my kids come to me and they are having anxiety, or they are filled with emotion. They might need to cry. They might just need to talk about some things and have a space to do that, or be angry for a moment, or just sit and not talk or anything, just to have a space. And at times, depending on what the moment is, like, I'm just reminding them to breathe, and I'm coaching them through breathing. Breathe in through your nose. I was say breathe in through your nose. When you do that, allow your stomach to expand. Put your shoulders back. Allow your chest to open up fully, so your lungs have a better capacity in which to expand, to breathe and get a full breath. And sometimes breathe. I encourage them, when they breathe out, on the final one, just however it wants to come out, just come out. I'd be like, even if you ate Doritos for lunch, that's okay. Just breathe it out, But sometimes we just need to breathe. Sometimes, it's important to go within and not always to look for something external validation, external, whatever's, and just go within sometimes. It doesn't have to be something super dramatic or super like I need to be a guru and sit there, But I think time to be still is always beneficial. I personally, one of the best gifts I ever got was a journal. My mom got me this pastel pink. It was a couple shades of pink, but pastel pink was one of the ones on there. But I loved Hello Kitty and when I was like in elementary, and maybe even a little bit longer, maybe a little bit in middle school too. It was for sure, I think. But she got me a journal, and even now, like I keep a journal because it allows me to write things and connect dots. And even on my Instagram, if you follow me there, it's at Bria's Utopia, BRIAS Utopia. Same name on here. I just realized, and I think it's on my Instagram. I mean my YouTube on here somewhere. But I love to just take time to be still and to go within and connect dots and make sense of things. Like, why do I feel this way? Why am I thinking this way? Even to go back and say, wow, I used to think like this. I used to feel like that. This used to be my focus. Or wow, I've really grown in that area or what have you. But I don't want this to be long. And again, I encourage you, as I encourage myself, when you watch this, send this to somebody else. Encourage somebody else, to just build an awareness until we meet next time. And even after that, I just challenge you, I encourage you, I support you in building, leaning into an awareness of what you're choosing. Because love and joy and like all these things are in abundance all the time. And what you choose to focus on will really just cause a whole paradigm shift. Like you'll realize, like on Aladdin, a whole new world, a dazzling place I never knew. Cause when we're way up here, it's crystal clear. My voice is going out right now. But anyway, happy Friday. I hope that today you felt loved and seen and heard and honored and respected and celebrated and appreciated for all that you are by someone. Even if that someone happens to be yourself. Welcome to Bria's Utopia.